language, exploring diverse channel of promoting Ghanaian language. And on that topic, I would like to share something bit. I think some few days ago, I was just scrolling through my phone on Instagram, and I saw some innovative way of promoting the language where someone has actually transformed all the languages into letters and pictures for kids to learn from infancy, like Insa, Ashi, and all of that. And I thought that was so beautiful, that was so innovative. So with that in mind, I'm still eager to know what more can be done to promote our indigenous languages without us losing it. We already have our first panelist seated, and so I would want to add up to him. He can do this job alone. I need diverse ideas, just like the diverse languages. This person, with my mind of trying to, okay, let's start with this. Mr. Emmanuel. Mr. Enoch Nana Ya Ochro Eche. For what he's known for, I'll keep that as a secret. He's an exceptional, oh my goodness, I wanted to hide it from you, but he's an exceptional Ghanaian musician, composer, and a songwriter. Well, we're talking about music, and we're about to introduce a music man, so definitely there have to be a sound of music. But I think that the media team, I would like you to hold on a little bit for me to tell more, then we can end up with that. So, hailing from the vibrant city of Accra, Ghanaian. He's a Ghanaian and renowned for his unparalleled versatility in music. He has garnered multiple prestigious awards, solidifying his influence not only within Ghana and Africa, but also beyond borders. His remarkable music career is a true force of change, embodying the essence of philanthropy and entrepreneurship. As the team lead of the Wide Media, a prominent digital marketing agency, he showcases his multifaceted talent. Moreover, he passionately advocates for the preservation and celebration of Ghanaian languages and culture. His unwavering dedication to social responsibility has earned him an immense respect within the Ghanaian music industry. His positive attitude makes him a role model for countless young Ghanaians and an inspiration for musicians worldwide. Notably, he is the founder of the MAC Foundation, a noble organization that supports orphanages and educational programs in Ghana, exemplifying his desire to make a tangible difference in the lives of others. Additionally, he serves as the team lead for the African Music Business Dialogue and a member of the National Folklore Board, further solidifying his influence and impact on the global music scene. Ladies and gentlemen, let's show some love for our very own Trick Mate. Thank you for joining. Of course, there are 2 and 2 is still not enough for me. I need more. And so I have on my list a business development manager of Bolingo Consult. He is a Bolingo Consult is a language service company based in Accra, Ghana. They offer a range of services including translation, interpretation, localization, and language consulting. And they are committed to promoting the use of African languages and to help businesses and organizations communicate effectively in multiple languages. Ladies and gentlemen, I am talking about Mr. Emmanuel Clifford Gyetuah, if I got it right, or Gyetuah, if I got it right. Gyetuah. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Clifford, for making time to join us. We still have 3 more seats. Who is our next person? Would also want to have Mr. Kweku. Mr. Kweku Bako. Did I get it right? Mr. Kweku Bako, right? Yes. Let's show some love for Mr. Kweku Bako. And lastly, to take his seat, we have to moderate this session. Actually, we have Madam or Miss Sedinam. Miss Sedinam, if you are here, we'd like you to join us. I think I'm missing one person for the seats. Well, I am told the last person is in transit. So while we wait for him, the discussion needs to go on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Christabel. I think we can give another round of applause for our panelists. My name is Sedinam Togolamadeko. It has rightly been said. We are going to have a very short discussion and a meaningful one, I hope. I'll start with Apostle Christopher Wecha. Did I pronounce it right? Okay. And welcome to my panel discussion. So I was going to ask how UNESCO was, trying or utilizing the diverse channels we have to promote our Ghanaian languages. But you touched on that in your short speech. So share with us some of your challenges. Let's start from your challenges.
Challenges? Wow. Anyway, I'll reiterate what I said again and begin with the Ghana Commission for UNESCO is the official government agency that promotes UNESCO's ideals in the country. So what we do in particular, UNESCO has 5 competent areas: education, communication and information, but I'm the program officer for culture, so I basically deals with culture. Now, UNESCO promotes indigenous languages through diverse channels, protocols and conventions. And one of the main conventions is the 2003 Convention for Safeguarding Intangible Cultural Heritage, which language as part of folklore is key. Now, it has framework, mechanisms, strategies, operational guidelines for promoting indigenous languages. For example, UNESCO supports member states through research to research those languages that are going extinct, so that we can safeguard them. So UNESCO have a list that we call list of urgent list of intangible cultural heritage. So we document these languages, we put them on the list, and we give them international recognition and protection. Obviously, there will be some challenges to address these issues. Some of the challenges that can happen is the non-domestication of these conventions, and then because once you ratify the convention, we have to integrate in our local laws so that we can enforce them. Now, once these are not enforced, UNESCO cannot, enforce convention in the member states. And who is UNESCO? UNESCO is us. We constitute UNESCO. So once, as a country, we ratify the convention, we have to ensure that we domesticate it, enforce it through our local laws, domestic laws, then by that we'll be able to safeguard our indigenous languages. All right, so I'll put it here and wait for further questions.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to Chugmatic now. And for those of us who have known him over the years or known his work and music, we realize that at least when he releases a song, there will be some Ga in there or something. Would you say that the audience, your audience, those who consume your music have resonated well with it? Do they support it? Well, what would you say the experience has been over the years?
Well, I think, support, yes. Obviously, that's what I've been around for 13 years. So obviously there's support. But I think the orientation, when it comes to some of the things that music can be used for, it's not there. And so obviously it's happening, but it's indirect, or it's happening unknowingly. And so as much as an artist I'm being intentional about it, I don't think the consumers are aware, or maybe the enablers, the industry enablers are aware that it's a tool that can be used to sort of push this agenda. And so for me, that has been, maybe I wouldn't call it a challenge, but that has been the situation. Nonetheless, some people have to sacrifice to make sure that language preservation is happening, and still the agenda is being run, because one way or the other somebody must do it. And so cultural preservation is big, which also has language in there, and music has an earworm effect where it doesn't need your permission to get into your head or into your mind. And so for me, I've been very intentional about putting that in. And one of the reasons why I stuck to Ga, for example, is that I realized that it was being relegated at a certain point. All music was in Akan, and nobody was really paying attention to Ga as a language. And even the Ga songs were mostly about food, or some very comic situation. And so I decided that to still address very serious issues using the Ga language, and just to always remind people, or Ga people, where they're from, or give them a sense of pride as Gas. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we appreciate that a lot. Can you pass the microphone? Mr. Emmanuel Clifford, Gyetuah. That's right? Okay. What is Bolingo Consult? And what do you do in relation to promoting Ghanaian languages?
Okay, thank you so much. And for me, I wish this conversation is being held in using a Ghanaian language. Because whatever I'm about to say here, I can naturally say everything in my mother tongue, which is Twi. And I wouldn't have any problem with that. For us, as a company, we offer language services, so the translation, the interpretation. We also do dubbing and subtitling and all that. Whilst offering these services, we realize the demand that come from potential clients or clients. There is a lot of demand, and the first panel actually mentioned the high, the fact that the industry or the work is well paying, and we saw that of course there's demand for services in Ghanaian languages. A lot of requests for Ga, for instance. There's a lot of videos that are being shot, and there's the need for subtitling. There's a lot of movies that are supposed to be dubbed. There's a lot of documents that you need to get it into these languages and so on and so forth. And so those demands came, and we realized that now we also really need to give that opportunity to support, promote the languages and make it stand. And one of the languages that we have started to do a lot of work in has been the Akan language, Twi and Fanti. And so we created the first website that has every information in Twi. And so even click here, sign up, and all those things are in Twi. It's akannews.com. So we publish news information in the Twi language. We have plans of extending it to other languages. One of the most important things about language is that language actually grows. So it's just like a human being. They grow. The more you take care of it, just like you planted anything, if you take care of it, the thing will grow and grow well. So it's the same thing with language. If you don't use it in formal spaces like this, if you don't write, produce documents, publish in it, the language will not grow. And we most often, when you talk about the Ghanaian language, the initial reaction is that, oh, we don't have this word in this language. How do we say oxygen? How do you get science and physics in those languages? But the truth of the matter is that these terminologies are not English terminologies. They are, if you take the dictionary, you will see that each word, there is origin of that particular word. And you know that they are not originally English words. They are borrowed from Latin, Greek, and so on and so forth. And when all these terminologies were developed, including Einstein, and you know that those people, those days, they were not extremely English people. But they developed all these things as universal terminology, so any language can use it to process whatever that they want to process. And so that is the situation. And for me, or for us at Bolingo, we want everybody to have that understanding, is that the language has enough depth and enough vocabulary, enough words to be used to do anything that we want to do. One last thing that also pushed us to really promote the language is the fact that the people that really want to use any of the Ghanaian language don't use it appropriately, even especially online. There is a lot of media stations, TV, radio that speak the Ghanaian language. So you can say Twi, for instance. But when it's time for them to write, it becomes a problem. And even if they write it, they don't use the characters properly. They just do it anyhow. And even to our music, I mean, I loved Trigmatic, and I follow a lot of his music. Most musicians, when they put out songs and they want to put the subtitles, I mean, in their language, you see that they will use tre instead of e. And I always get annoyed, you know, because the characters are fillable. There are keyboard in Ghanaian languages that you can use. They are available. And so that is very, very problematic. And so we want to get, you know, more information out there to be able to show as an example for other people. So when I was coming, I even brought one of a book that, this is a climate change children's book that is in Twi. It talks about climate change, environment, and so on and so forth. And all these terminologies, there are Twi equivalents. Don't say that, how do you say climate change in Twi? I won't say it here anyway. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that was a brilliant submission. And I'm very happy that right beside you is Mr. Kweku Beko from the Open Foundation West Africa. I think you do translation on Wikipedia.
Yes.
So you are the ones who use 3 instead of A.
Never.
You don't? Okay. So tell us what you do at Open Foundation West Africa, and if you actually do not use 3 instead of A.
All right. So we are Open Foundation West Africa is an NGO, and we seek to promote open education and then preserving culture. So when we talk about culture, the moment you mention culture, the first thing that comes to mind is the language. There's nobody here who can say that I come from this place and doesn't have a language. You don't have a language, they don't belong to that culture. So we want to promote the culture, we want to preserve it. That's as my brother said. There are people who can speak Ewe, Chi, Dagati, or whatever. But when it comes to reading, they can't read. You realize that a time will come, people cannot even, they wouldn't know what the language is about. But if you document these languages, 100 years to come, 50 years to come, people can still go online and read. So we are leveraging on this Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the largest encyclopedia online. People go there a lot. So what we do is this. We actually translate articles from the English Wikipedia to the local languages. With that, we are preserving it. So today, you can read something in Ewe on Wikipedia. So we have Ewe Wikipedia. We have the Chi Wikipedia. We have Dagati Wikipedia. Frafra Wikipedia. We are actually working on bringing the Gan Wikipedia on board. We are working with the incubation. So we believe that when we do this, 20, 30, 40 years to come, the language will not be extinct. You can go there, whatever you want to read, you can read. That's as he said. He said, someone can ask you, what is an atom? How do you mention atom in Chi or Ewe or whatever language? When you read the Chinese history, Chinese were also colonized by some people. They were using other languages. But they sat down and realized that, no, we need to use our language. Today, when you go to China, before you study, you need to study their language for 6 months. So we believe that our language is also important. The local languages are important. That makes us, it makes us who we are. So we need to actually document these things. So we've taken it upon ourselves that we will do that. We train people in translating into the local language, not just one language, most of the Ghanaian languages. We do this by organizing training sessions. We have hubs across Ghana, and then we partner other educational institutions. So recently we had a partnership with University of Education, UniMAC, Ejumako campus, because they do languages. So we train about 400 students how to do the translation online. So basically that's what we do.
Thank you, Mr. Kweku Berko. There's something that I am very passionate about. So when we are translating and doing translation and interpretation, we are concerned about context, grammar being correct, and all of that. Pronunciation is very important to me too. For those of us who came to this session at the beginning, we heard Christabel pronounce Dr. Fenuku, which we mostly say as Fenuku. That is the right pronunciation. But I'm sure almost all of us, or 90% of us, have said Fenuku. So in the course of the discussion, we've been hearing Ewe, Ewe. It is not Ewe, it is Ebe. So you're teaching me, and I'm teaching you. So it is Ebe. So before you teach me how to pronounce or say what an atom or climate change is in a can, it is Ebe, not Ewe. Thank you. I'll take my $50 after the session. So I come to Apostle Wacha. Would you like me to keep calling you Apostle? They gave me Apostle. So. Okay, so I heard you mentioning that UNESCO is very passionate about reviving extinct languages. What are you doing with the Ghana Education Service? Because I remember that when we're in primary school and we're in junior high school, when you speak vernacular or your local language in school, either you're getting a pinch or you're being punished in some sort of way. But this is us about 10 years later saying that we are trying to revive or prevent our local languages from going extinct. The Ministry of Education, the educational institutions, the government, are they aware that this is what you are doing? Are they telling our teachers in our junior high schools not to punish us when we speak our local languages at school?
Well, thank you very much. I think that that is not basically the work of UNESCO. Now, I am fortunate to be a member of the 2004 Culture Policy Review Committee. Now, Ministry of Education, GES, Ghana Education Service, NACA, National Curriculum Assessment, you know. What we are discussing now is an issue of policy and its enforcement. What we need to do and what we are trying to do now with the policy, which has been funded by UNESCO, so UNESCO funded us to review the culture policy, is that we want to ensure through the policy that Ghanaian languages are prioritized. Once we are able to put it in the policy and we develop an implementation plan, we can engage all the stakeholders, including Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Services, for them to understand, and I'm sure they understand, the need to preserve these Ghanaian languages, but by ensuring that we teach them in our schools. There have been a lot of discussions, particularly with Ghana language, and anytime we meet to discuss, you hear that we don't have teachers, and most students don't want to go and learn Ghana in the universities. And even if they learn Ghana or any languages, where they will be posted to go and teach, it's not a place that they can teach the language they have learned. So all these things should be captured in the policy. There should be a serious engagement, stakeholder engagement, involving everybody. Then we can come up with, you know, clear guidelines as to how we want to go about it. So to say this is a policy issue, we need to review the policy, capture all these things and ensure it is being enforced. Then we can take it from there. And I'm sure we'll get there very soon.
Hopefully we get there. Because it's a matter of great concern. But thank you. Please pass the mic. If the media team is ready, can we have you play Aka Ke Moko by Trigmatic? Did I say
Aka
right?
Ke Moko.
Aka Ke Moko. Okay. Please play that for us. After it's played for a short while, maybe 30 seconds, Trigmatic will tell us what he was trying to convey in the song, and if it actually got the audience you expected it to get. Over to you, media team. We can play the rest for the after party. Trigmatic, over to you.
Yeah, sorry, what was the question again?
Do people, you know, feel so impressed by their own work like this? He has forgotten the question. So I was asking, what message were you conveying? Because I do not really speak Ghana. Yeah. Okay. So what were you conveying? And if it resonated with the audience like you wanted it to?
Yeah, with the audience I targeted, it did. Aka Ke Moko is a song that's talking about keeping infidelity a secret. You know, so it's basically walking up to someone that you're very well aware that has a partner, but you so really like the person, and she's actually telling you that she has a partner, and because you still don't want to kill the edge of going for her, you're saying, let's keep it a secret between us. So it was a song not really for younger people. The target was for a very grown, because I'm not talking about the negative side of infidelity. I'm talking about the positive side of standing for your relationship. So I am to say that in the song, I am saying that I have someone. You know, I have someone. Even though you are saying I shouldn't tell anyone, I have someone. So that's what the song is about.
Thank you. I think the organizer should have chosen another Trigmatic song. And I'm happy he was saying, I said. We won't learn any of that. But thank you, Trigmatic. I remember growing up, I could, let me call it rap.
Okay.
A lot of Ga raps. I didn't even know how to speak Ga. My Ga got better when I grew up. But that is the beauty of language. When you hear the rhythm, and I'm sure a lot of us can sing French songs we do not even understand. I can sing a lot of telenovela songs
like the way
because
we
of the
found out
Spanish.
the way we found out that one of the French songs we used to sing back then was actually a heartbreak song. And a lot of us enjoyed it and danced to it. We didn't know that Premier Gao was actually a heartbreak song, So it's just like I said, it's the earworm effect of music, and trust me, like with the some of the projects that my brothers are doing, if they incorporate music, which is very informal and very easy to grasp. Trust me, like I actually did a field work in Spain where we use music to preserve the language and to get the young ones now from kindergarten to actually be able to speak it with ease, because of internet, cross culture is really happening, and it's happening at a very rapid pace, and so all governments who are thinking about their people are very worried, and unfortunately, this was a program that was sponsored by the EU, and on the field, I did realize that we're not just the only people that are worried about people not speaking Chiga, or the Spaniards are also worried about their children not speaking Spanish well. The other countries are also worried about their people. So everybody is sort of like preserving. And so like I'll just use this to raise a call for policymakers. And what he said I can relate, because at the Folklore Board we do work with UNESCO. And so I understand that if these policies, like we need to push for them to happen quicker, we need to push for its implementation. And then we need to also highlight it as a topic of importance, so that it is not something that we will talk about after we're satisfied, when we've talked about economics and all of that things, and then we think that language is the next thing. Lastly, I'll just say I partially live in South Africa, and you have no idea the economic effect that language has, especially when it comes to trade. Now that we're pushing after, I think that this is the time for such a conversation, because when you take an Uber, let's say from the airport, you're a Ghanaian, you get to the airport, you take an Uber, the average South African has been oriented to straight ahead speak either a Xhosa with you, Zulu with you, or Tswana or something, and they are unapologetic about it. If you don't understand, it's your problem. You sit in the car, he's talking to, and then until you say, oh, I can't, or when you are quiet, mostly when you can't understand the language, you're just quiet. Then but after 3 lines of English, they will still have to bring in that line of Zulu or Tswana. And I think with what you raised, the concerns you raised, if these things are addressed, it will no longer be a thing. I think it started with the word colloquial, when we all started saying, oh, these people are colo. Or when you speak a lot of your language, you're rather demonized to think that you are not up to it. You are not the guy. Only a guy. You understand? And I think it has to be a general concern that must be addressed to push a greater goal, to be honest. If we speak our languages well, even with our music, sometimes we lie to ourselves. When you're singing in your dialect, you actually produce a better song. Like, you actually can tell the passion behind the song. But when you're trying to sing, like singing like Patois or English, sometimes you don't, because the pronunciations, the syllables, certain things you can never get them right. But when it's in your dialect, cut across. I can mention any artist from Ghana who's like big, A-list, whoever, whether they are doing patois and they are big or whatever. Listen to all their local songs, the songs that's in their language. You would tell the passion better than all the other ones.
I think we all agree. Thank you so much, Pragmatic. Bolingo Consult. Please let us hear the applause. Thank you. So Bolingo Consult is doing brilliant work, right? Most times when we have these consults, they are like your question, translating the languages of the colonial masters. But you are doing African languages, Ghanaian languages. Do you have the support you need? Do you have the patronage you need? Because to be very honest, until this conference, I didn't know about Bolingo Consult. I'll be honest with you. So tell us.
Oh, for us, we are a business, so we have to sell our services well. That is the major priority. And maybe the question should have been, who are the people that buy? You know, because those are the things that we are concerned about. Most often, the people that buy Ghanaian language or African languages are European and American organizations. You know, for them, they are very much particular about the things that they are selling here. They see all of us here as consumers. And so when they do their product and services and they want to sell to us, that is when they realize that they really need it. And when they do, it works. And so they keep coming. I think last year we did a project for a UK company that was launching in Ghana. Their marketing materials was in English already, but they still needed to localize it because they didn't want to come and say pants. Meanwhile, they are referring to trousers. You understand? If you say pant in Ghana, we all know what you mean, you know. But in the UK and I think in the US, it means trouser. But here you have to say trouser for us to know that, you know. So they for them, they don't take it for granted. But per my observation, I've seen that for the businesses that most often originate from here, we find it very disturbing and we don't recognize it at all. Yeah, so the demand is there, like I mentioned. So once the demand is there and we translate and they pay us, inshallah, for us, we don't have a problem. The other side is when we have initiatives around promoting the language. And just like this publication, for instance, we have it in Ebbe. Am I right? Ebbe. Okay.
We'll forgive you for that.
Yeah, and other languages as well. For that, I think it's more of how the market is. People don't even know that they can have children's book like this in their language. So when we did it to the market in some schools, yeah, they ordered, they bought it, and they are willing to share with their kids. And so, yeah, we need more of that. And that is my opinion, that we need more businesses, we need more organizations that are interested to publish in their languages. And for me, one key takeaway that I would take from Trick's comment was the fact that music also play a key in this promotional effort. And it's one thing that I've noted down to take it back to the people, you know, the big people to consider. The last point I want to say with regards to the question you asked, Apostle, about children being beaten for speaking their language. And that was one of the key drivers for us as well in, you know, taking the initiatives around the language very serious. Because these days, it's not just, when we were growing up, it was a rich case that we were speaking English, and we, the Jambas, we are speaking our tree. But these days, even Charlie, the Jamba, all they are speaking English. You can't even meet a kid and say, hey, it's saying hey, the way they will look at it, what do you mean? And meanwhile, these are people living in, you understand what I mean? And so it's very serious. It's very, very serious to the point that, and I think I still don't understand the rationale. I think that we believe that when you don't speak your language, probably you will be better. But it's actually the opposite. If you speak you know, and you know other person's language, you become more powerful. But the other way around, you become like a slave. All the big people that we cherish in our societies these days, even our president, the way he speaks the tree, I listen and I'm so much, surprised. When he turns to English, you know what I mean.
Do we?
No, he will give you the slangs again. But when he turns to tree, he says it perfectly. You understand? So it doesn't even spoil your accent. It doesn't even do anything to you. And we have the capacity to know as many languages as possible. There is that capacity. Before colonization, people were trading, and the languages exist. People were trading among ourselves. We were speaking. We were doing a lot of things. We were even going for wars and other things before the English language came. So ask yourself, how did you do it? We had the power, just that we are probably being lazy at this point.
Thank you. If you know your language and you know someone else's language, you become powerful. Thank you. I think. Okay, we'll take that home. Thank you. Mr. Kweku Beko.
Yeah.
So you do translation with technology a lot. How would you say that is going? Is it going well? And the previous panel discussion, we heard about how AI is being incorporated into stuff like these and all of that. Tell us about it.
Okay, so here it is. I think with the AI, that's as the first analyst said, you can't use AI to do a proper translation, because if you use AI to translate, it doesn't translate context. It translates word to word. So it actually changes whatever you are translating. So it is very important that we actually use the language itself to do the translation. If you don't speak the language, it will be very difficult to translate. So what we do is this. You have hubs across the country. So when you go to the Ever area, we have one at home. So when they are translating, we make sure that we get those who speak proper Ever to translate. So when we go to the north, we have those who speak the indigenous language to translate. The challenge is this. A lot of people can speak. But when it comes to the local language, the way we speak is different from the way we write. So it is difficult to get people to do the proper translation. So when you go to Wikipedia, the tree or the Ewe Wikipedia or the other Wikipedia, you see a lot of mistakes. So we need people who can actually speak well to go in there and do the correction there. The challenge is that we are an NGO. We don't do for money. Those who translate we actually depend on them for free. We organize competition with our own money for them to translate. So if we can get people to come on board, like the educational institutions who do this local languages, it will help us a lot, because trust me, if you go to the Wikipedia, you read certain things and it doesn't make sense. So we can work with AI, but not fully. Yeah, thank you.
So you can use the AI, but not fully.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so to throw myself under the bus,
Okay.
I'm done with you. You can rest your arm. So I'm in a choir at church, and we had a concert. We're supposed to sing an Ever song. So the ones they've been singing over the years were written anyhow, and they were like, "Udia, just sing what you can see." So when they realized we are just about 2 Evers in the choir, so they gave the translation to me to do. So I thought I had done an A+ job. The day came, my mom attends the same church with me. The song was projected. We were singing. We came home and she was like, "Who wrote Akbe with E?" I didn't tell her it was me, but it was me, you know. So I agree. This is just to buttress the point that I agree that the writing is different from the speaking. So we should actually invest and focus on that. So we have come to the end of the session. If you have any final words, we can have them, and then we exit. Anybody, anything to say? Okay, so the mic will go around. Thank you.
So I would want to say that when it comes to the local language, we have a lot to do. Right now, we are working with the Ghan language. We need people who speak the actual Ghan, the indigenous Ghans, to come and help us translate the stuff. It is free. It's your language. So make it a point to come and help us. And with the educational institutions, we are ready for partnership. Just call on us. We'll come and train the students for free, and then we move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think for me, one of the things that as a business, I'm saying this, my own opinion, not on behalf of the organization or the company. I think that the more people or organizations or companies that are in a particular space, it helps the industry to develop. There is a bit of competition, but if you look at the way the language industry is structured, competition is a bit not of a problem, because another company can still, work with another company depending on resources and other, factors. Technology and all those things are factors that collaboration, it makes collaboration very easy. And so I'm sure people, if you're a business person and you are interested, please feel free to, jump in. And then there are other gray areas that I mentioned as well. Publications in the language, gray area. People are not publishing enough. The National Book Development Council has a lot of publications about, the need for us to publish books in our Ghanaian languages. But, the business, people are not really taking it up. A lot of publishing houses are not really interested. But when we did it, we saw the results. It was lucrative. People bought everything. You understand? So there's an opportunity. I'm sure we are here. We are all looking for opportunity. And I'm so there's opportunity. And the last point that I want to make is that, for me, I don't really like using English to promote any language. If I have my own way, this conversation should have been in the Ghanaian language, so that we are using, because we are using another language to say that we need to, you understand? It doesn't really make sense. We should use the language whilst promoting the language. Thank you.
I think you should clap. Well, I'll just add up a few, but I just want to say that, from a creative point of view, guys, don't just see us as people who enjoy jumping on stage and just asking you to lift your hand up and wave and wave. We can cause social changes. We disseminate information. We are a channel to a lot of things. I say a musician is the only profession that, music is the only profession that makes you a doctor, lawyer, teacher, anything, driver, anything, because we can pass information about drivers to Sukkot. We can pass information about COVID came. You can do a song about COVID when you're not a doctor, but you can put the symptoms and all that in a song. You don't have to be an architect to make a song about that. So do not just see us in a single line. And so I'm reaching out to all of us here as collaborators, that reach out to some of us, or some other creatives. Let's come together to make this agenda really work and really happen, because it would take all of us. It would take you guys to do the back end, and it would take us to amplify it. And so some of us are open. Let's have an open conversation, and with all of us here in the room, let it not just be another event, but let it be a beginning of a solution that we can dialogue, talk more about it. Actually, act it. Do what we've said here. It starts from us. And then people can see, well, because when we create the demand for it, I always say government and business people, they go where the numbers are. They like where the people's mind are. So it would take us to create the demand for language, the importance of language, and then for them to actually come and say, let's make the policy happen now. Let's make this happen now, even including investment. So thank you so much, and I enjoyed this session.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I would say that with all that UNESCO is doing, with all that we are saying and asking to be done, the charity begins at home. We have to speak our mother language with our children. Interestingly, most of us in our homes, we want our children to speak the Queen's language. And once you can slang or you can speak better, you think you are there. But if we really want to promote our languages, it must start from the house. Whilst we are waiting for policies, we must speak. I speak Seshi, Twi, and English. We have to promote the languages at home so that in our bid to speak English with our children, we will not make grammatical errors. Let them speak Twi, let them speak Dagati, let them speak Ga. By this, we'll promote our local language. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have been here with Trigmatic Apostle Wecha, Mr. Gyetuah, and Mr. Beko. Mr. Beko, thank you for saying ever so many times. I saw how you were struggling, but thank you. We have been discussing exploring diverse channels to preserve and promote Ghanaian languages. My name has been Sedinam Togo Lamadeku, and thank you for listening.